Okay, I think we should start. Yes. So we'll do the Rajadiraj in the order of the program. Okay. So Bertley, Jai Guru Bertley.
Jai Guru.
So we'll do it in the order of the program. I'll start though as well, and then anyone else who's not in the program can join in the Rajadiraj, and we'll go over it twice or three times till everyone gets a chance to see it. Okay, so Rajadiraj Sadguruna Sri Sitarameshwar Maharaj Ki Jai. Stefan.
Rajadiraj Sadguruna Sri Bhausat Maharaj Ki Jai.
Marcia. Oops. Yeah, that's it. Marcia.
I'm sorry. Rajadiraj Sadguruna Sri Gurlinga Janga Maharaj Ki Jai.
Shanti.
Rajadiraj Sadgurunath Sri Katsideshwar Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jasper.
Rajadiraj Sadgurunath Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj Ki Jai.
Love.
Rajadiraj Sadgurunath Sri Gainath Maharaj Ki Jai.
Rajadiraj Sadgurunath Sri Ranjit Maharaj Ki Jai.
Zohar.
Rajadiraj Sadguruna Sri Ramakant Maharaj Ki Jai.
And then who's not done it? Has everyone done it? Yes. And anyone who's here who wants to say Rajadiraj.
Rajadiraj Sadguruna Sri Siddharveshwar Maharaj Ki Jai.
Rajadiraj Sadguruna Sri Bhausat Maharaj Ki Jai.
Is that everyone? I think. Yes. Okay. So we'll start. Jasper, you can take over.
Okay. Stefan, are you going to read about the Dattatreya?
Yes. In the Purana, he was born in an Indian hermitage to Anapya and her husband, the Vedic sage Atri, who is traditionally credited with making the largest contribution to the Rig Veda. It's said that they lived in Mahur, Nandid district, Maharashtra. Another states that his father lived in the western Deccan region. The third claims he was born in the jungle of Kashmir, near the sacred Amarnath temple. The fourth legend states he was born along with his brothers Durvasa and Chandra to an unwed mother named Anusya. In the fifth myth, sage Atri was very old when young Anusya married him, and they sought the help of the Trimurti gods for a child. As the Trinity were pleased with them for having brought light and knowledge to the world, instantly granted the boon which led Dattatreya to be born with characteristics of all three. Lord Dattatreya is the Adi Guru, or primordial master of all spiritual traditions that take total liberation and dissolution as their final goal. Dattatreya represents the supreme reality as it exists in its fully expanded, harmonious and free state. When the supreme reality is known and understood within the context of a human earthly existence, then harmonic principles naturally blossom. Unconditional love, non-violence, and selflessness become the natural way of existing. The Dattatreya tradition is rooted in the harmonious principles of nature itself, of being natural and of obtaining freedom from all bindings. Find the original birth of Lord Dattatreya in Ages past, his successive incarnations have stood out of spiritual light and word of darkness. Within the context of the Dattatreya tradition, Dattatreya is not seen as merely a powerful and influential historical figure, but rather a panorama, pencil of freedom that continuously manifests itself in a way that suits the time of its manifestation. Data is ever new, fresh, and relevant because data is nothing other than the life itself. Right from the very beginning, the teachings of Lord Dattatreya have unfazed being natural, being unencumbered by ritual, tradition, and domination, to love nature and lead a life of ahimsa, of total non-violence towards all living beings. The ultimate goal of the Dattatreya tradition is the complete dissolution of the sense of individual self and the world that that self projects out of itself. This dissolution is accomplished via the gradual, natural, and integrated absorption into the non-conceptual, perfectly silent core of reality as it truly is. Data avatars, the direct emanations of Dattatreya, have incarnated regularly during Kali Yuga to bring the universal teachings of unity, love, and spiritual awareness into a world struggling with the dark influences gripping mankind. Several Upanishads are dedicated to him as a text of the Vedanta Yoga tradition and Hinduism. One of the most important texts of Hinduism, namely Avatthuta Gita, is attributed to Dattatreya. Dattatreya is revered as the Adi Guru, first teacher of the Adinath Sampradaya, of the nine masters, the Navanatas, to whom he passed on his teachings and the sacred Nam. Thanks to Sadguru, thanks to the great holy master of our lineage, we have this opportunity to come into contact with the sacred Nam at the present time. Next, I would like to read some of the sayings of Bhagavan Dattatreya written in the Avatthuta Gita. Oh mine, why are you wandering like a restless god? Become aware of this unlimited and uniform Atma. Give up all passions and be happy. For you there is neither birth nor death. You have no memory. For you there is no bondage, no liberation, neither good nor bad. Why are you crying, my dear? The name and the form do not apply to you or to me. Truly, you are that unchangeable reality, which is the most steadfastness, unity, and freedom. You don't feel passion or passionlessness. Why then do you torment yourself by desiring objects of love? No matter what I do, no matter what I eat, no matter what sacrifices I make, and no matter what I refuse, none of this belongs to me. I'm eternally pure, unborn, and unchangeable. Know this, that which has a form is unreal, because it's limited by its form. That which is formless is eternal. He who illustrates this truth with his own life is no longer subject to rebirth. I am the Eva Supreme Absolute. Know me to be the essence of all essences, present at all places and at all times, beyond both birth and death, and stationed in my forever totally free repose as reality itself. Lord Dattatreya, Avatthuta Gita, Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. So, Stefan, is it right that I share the Dattatreya RT next video?
Please.
Okay. That one. Can everyone see that?
No.
No, you can't see what I shared?
It's blank at the moment.
Okay, but let's see if I play it. It should work. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
त्रिगुणात्मक त्रैमूर्ती दत्त हा जाणा त्रिगुणी अवतार त्रैलोक्य राणा नीती नेती शब्द न ये अनुमाना सुरवर मुनि जन योगी समाधि न ये ध्याना जय देव जय देव जय देव जय देव जय श्री गुरुदत्ता आरती हो वाणीता हरि भव चिंता जय देव जय देव सबाह्य अभ्यंतरी तू एक दत्त अभाग्यासी कैची कळे ही मात पराही परतली तिथे कैचा हेत जन्म मरणाचा पुरलासे अंत जय देव जय देव जय देव जय देव जय श्री गुरुदत्ता आरती हो वाणीता हरि भव चिंता जय देव जय देव दत्त येऊनिया उभा ठाकला सद्भावे साष्टांगे प्रणिपात केला प्रसन्न होऊन आशीर्वाद दिधला जन्म मरणाचा फेरा चुकविला जय देव जय देव जय देव जय देव जय श्री गुरुदत्ता आरती हो वाणीता हरि भव चिंता जय देव जय देव दत्त दत्त ऐसे लागले ध्यान हरपले मन झाले उन्मन मी तूपणाची झाली बोळवण एका जनार्दनी श्री दत्त जाण जय देव जय देव जय देव जय देव जय श्री गुरुदत्ता हो स्वामी अवधूता आरती हो वाणीता हरली भव चिंता जय देव जय देव
Jai Guru. And going to share RT to the Navnath 9 Masters next.
प्रसिद्ध नागनाथ सर्पाच्या उदरी जय देव जय देव जय देव जय देव जय नवनाथा अभय तारक तू दीनानाथा जय देव जय देव जय देव जय देव जय नवनाथा अभय तारक तू दीनानाथा जय देव जय देव चरणापासून झाले चरपटीनाथ गर्भाची उत्पत्ती भगीरनाथ गहिनी गोपी चंद अडबंगीनाथ 84 सिद्ध झाले प्रगट जय देव जय देव जय देव जय नवनाथा अभय तारक तू दीनानाथा जय देव जय देव जय देव जय देव जय नवनाथा अभय तारक तू दीनानाथा जय देव जय देव जय देव जय देव जय नवनाथा अभय तारक तू दीनानाथा जय देव जय देव जय देव जय देव जय नवनाथा अभय तारक तू दीनानाथा जय देव जय देव
Jai Guru. What's next? So Marcia, you're going to sing a bhajan.
Yes. Sarvachara chara baruniyurala chatujala premala kase abahana karumangala tujavina kote tara jagala sarvatrivyapala asana kaide upatula Charana Pashini Tuja Chavahe Ganga Nadi Pavani Pada Prakshalana Karukotuni Davala Purna Svatika Samakanti Shobe Tavanir Mala Aja Angola Kai Deumala Nirle Patula Utile Pakasha Chakaru Tu Swayetapa Harashitala Jala Kataru Tu Shantakasha La Chandana Ugaluni Paru Ananta Gagana Cha Pravana Tujashi Nesa Vaya Kotuni Vastra Anupapriya Jnana Chatu Sagara Asasi Jiva Jantu Janiva Janaveka Yagalu Madhava Manika Moti Nila Ratna Naga Tujasika Kulaviti Jayanti Kanti Tu Sripati Fule Konati Vechuni Malakumpu Tujala Prabhu Fulatila Ganda Tuja Kifibu Tu Sada Trup Tujanai Vechakaya Se Tahanapu Katujamana Nahe Chipise Tambula Sa Mapanaka Vanamuki Karukase Pradakshina Tuja Kasena Manami Kote Karuna Kale Jite Tabaru Basarva Vyapile Vedahi Jeti Neti Neti Ne Varnana Karita Take Kayami Stavuba Pude Muke Surya Prabha Tuja Pude Kitisi Ujvalatifi Kiti Atikayaka Pura Ujalu Adati Kevi Visarjana Karu Kutemi Jaganachasa Pade Bhaveti Te Tuzeru Pade Karu Jatapu Janahava Matsi Modali Tihavachiata Tavarupa Pavali Tu Deva Bhaktami Kalpana Janasali Icha Prabhutava Puja Karito Data Treya Antari Umagalipa Da Bhakti Tavakari Sarvachara Chara Varuni Urala Chatujala Premala Kase Avahana Karumangala. Jai Guru.
Jai Guru, thank you. Shanti, so I think it's Ravanath you're going to share.
Yes, thank you. Just sending a picture of on the group so that while you're listening, you can have a picture of. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So, Sri Revanath, also known as Revan Siddh, Kada Siddha, and Katsideshwar Siddharaj. He was one of the 9 great saints who were known as Navnath, 9 sages. He is specially worshipped in western and southern India, where several temples are dedicated to him, and several sampradayas trace their origin to him, the best known being the Inchengeri Sampradaya. A Marathi book named Navnath Bhaktisar, published in 819 by Makuliva, contains a live sketch of Revanath. In this book, Revanath, for the sake of the welfare of the world, incarnated near Revatir and grew up in a farmer family. One day, while engaged in agricultural work, he had the vision of Sri Dattatreya, and by his grace he attained Mahima Siddh, occult powers. It is said that he performed several miracles and became known as Revanath Siddha in that region. One of the versions that are found in these books is that there was someone called Makindaranath, a sage in that region, that had many occult powers, and it was said that tigers and lions and other such wild animals used to forget their enmities when they were near this sage. And Revanath, while looking at this, he realized that the powers that Machindaranath had attained were of no help for humankind. So he realized that ultimate occult power he wished to attain could only be accomplished by the realization of God. Hence, Machindaranath took Revanath to Sri Dattatreya, and Sri Dattatreya initiated Revanath into spiritual life. And then Revanath spent some time in penance under the guidance of Sri Dattatreya and realized God, or self-realized. He then went to several other places, after which he lived for some time in Renagiri. In another version of the life of Revanath Maharaj, it is found in a Marathi work called Siddhanta Sar, composed in the year 713, in the bank of the river Krishna in Vairadesh. The Maharashtra Sarvastas opine that this work was written by someone from the lineage of Machindaranath, which is the same lineage of the other version that I just mentioned. And here Revanath was called Revanasiddha, and he incarnated from the linga of Someshwara. His disciples were Marula Siddha and Ekoram. Thus, the tradition of Siddhas, meaning occult powers, is said to have begun with Revanath. And it is said that there was a woman called Mahi in the region of Karavir who used to scare and capture Siddhas, so these people that had occult powers, by challenging them to drink poison. And one day, Marula Siddha and Revana Siddha, which is Revanath Maharaj, drank all the poison and survived. And hence Mahi was defeated and surrendered to Revana Siddha. Revana Siddha then initiated Mahi and released all the Siddhas. This story is found in many other works. But there's many versions of the origin of Revana Siddha or Revanath. Of the Navanath 9 masters, it is said that Gahaninath and Revanath had large followings in the southern part of India, including Maharashtra, where Nisargadatta comes from. Revananath is said to have founded a subsect of his own and chose Katsideshwar as his chief disciple and successor. The later initiated Lingajangam Maharaj and Bauseb Maharaj and entrusted to their care his ashram and the propagation of his teachings. And it is Bauseb Maharaj that later established what came to be known as the Ishengeri Sampradaya, which was a new movement within the traditional fold. In the day-to-day instructions to their devotees, the Navanath Gurus seldom refer to the metaphysics discovered by the scholars in their teachings. In fact, their approach is totally non-metaphysical, simple, and direct, while the chanting of sacred hymns and devotional songs, as well as the worship of idols, is a traditional feature of the so-called sect. Its teachings emphasizes that the supreme reality can be realized only within the heart. Jai Guru.
Jai Guru.
Stefan shared with me a little video of the temple. Maybe instead of me showing it here, I can just maybe send it to you here. And then we can maybe all see it. What do you think? It's very, very short. It is sending, so it will be soon, I hope. It's taking a long time to send. Maybe we can just pass to the other one and everyone will have access to the video that Stefan sent here on the...
Okay, thank you. Jai Guru. Oh, here it is actually. Shall I share the video? Yeah.
No. You should give me. They already gave, I think.
I have one. Early.
So one of the Navanath.
One of the
No, one of the Navanath. No, Ravanath. Ravanath
Oh, one of nine.
No, no.
Okay.
1 of 9.
Sorry, that was a bit jumpy, I think. But yeah, everyone should have the video now if they want to watch it separately. Okay. Okay, I'm going to sing a bhajan now. Zali Sanja Sandhya Mazagela Atmara Mahrutahi Sahajiala Guru Krupa Nirmala Bhagirati Shanti Shama Yamuna Saraswati Aise Padai Katra Jeti Hoti Svanubhavas Nanahi Muktastiti Zali Sanja Sandhya Mazagela Sadbuddhi Chegaloni Darbasana Shamadaya Shri Guru Padmasana Shamadaya Angi Vibhuti Lepana Face Uchari Keshava Narayana Zali Sanja Sandhya Mazagela Bodha Putra Nirmana Putra Nirmana Jala Jeva Mamata Matari Maroni Gelitevan Bhakti Bahina Ali Asigava Ata Santa Karumi Keshikeva Zali Sanja Sandhya Mazagela Saja Karma Jali Brahmarpana Aisi Aikoni Nivati Sadhu Jana no he avgachi janardana eka janardani ladali nichakuna Zali Sanja Sandhya Mazagela. Jai Guru. Love, it's your contribution for Guru Lingajanga Maharaj.
Yes.
Shall I share the slideshow now?
After I finish reading, you can.
Okay.
Okay. Jai Guru. In the city of Solapur was born a boy named Narayanu from 1789 to 1875, who was to be called Guru Lingajanga Maharaj. Soon after his birth, his family moved to the village of Nirbargi. In 1814, when he was 25 years old, Narayaru was reprimanded by his father for participating in the holy revelry or spring festival of colors, in which participants smeared colored powder on their skin and clothes. The repentant young man went to the town of Pandapur, 65 kilometers from Nirbargi, where he prayed to the god Vital, who has a riverside temple in the town. People appeared to him in a dream and told him to go to Siddhagiri or Siddhagir near Kolhapur, and there he would meet his master. When Narayana Rao arrived, he saw a yogi coming out of a cave. The yogi took him to the cave and gave him the mantra of the lineage and told him to meditate regularly with that mantra, that by doing so he would become known everywhere. This yogi was the Katsideshwar. Once there, I was very curious to know about the Katsideshwars and headed for Siddhagiri. Once there, I didn't like it. It looked like an old-fashioned amusement park with huge plaster sculptures of animals and deities that was slowly deteriorating. The place is not unpopular and was very crowded. It was the opposite of Vitul, where we were practically alone. Narayanan Rao returned home very happy, and for 5 years he did nothing at all, meditated little or not at all. The yogi who had initiated him knew that he did not do the meditation, and after years he came to his house. This time Narayana Rao promised him that he would meditate diligently. From then on he began to do it. His family disagreed with his spiritual orientation, except for his sister. The family profession of dyer was very rentable at that time, but Narayan Rao abandoned it for that of a shepherd, which gave him more free time for meditation. In his new job, the reality was that he did not take care of the animals, but sat under a tree to meditate. But the animals never failed him, and the accounts with the owners of the herds always came out, sometimes because he left them in the care of the other shepherds, and sometimes because it happened that the animals were neither lost nor lacking in food or offspring. In contrast to the obsession with meditation technique of many schools or orientations of spiritual or inner quest, Narayan Rao had no technique at all. He developed it through continuous inner inspiration for more than 35 years. His self, the Atman, was his guide and teacher. He conversed with it, played with it, and visualized it, and in the end became one with it. We can dwell on the word played, which is to be understood literally. Guru Lingajangam played with the Atman. The well-known master Papaji, so it is said, after the austerities he had been performing as a child, he would get Lord Krishna himself to appear to him and play with him. Mr. Vittal and also played through the day. The life of Namdev, along that with of Janeshwar, who had himself buried alive at the age of 21, is also linked to the city of Pandharpur. These saints, along with Eknath and Tukaram, who had wide influence in Maharashtra, both by their work, their teaching, and their bhajans, they committed. Maharashtra was a fertile ground, a land of mystics. Mr. Makunda Balishkar, whom we will meet in the later edition, Narayan Rao was said to be a teacher who did not want to make himself known and did not want to give the deeper teachings, so he had few realized disciples. Among them Raghunath Priya Sadhu Maharaj, Sri Bose Maharaj, and Guru Jangam's adopted daughter, Mahayogini Lakshmi Bai Akka. Other sources state that after realization, Narayan Rao gave up the worldly activities, left his son as the family sub-respondent, and devoted himself to teaching for 28 years from the time he was 67. So that he had the time to reach many people, but the higher teachings he imparted were to very few. The point is that a Sadguru is not going to have an attitude of reserve as his story seems to indicate, but that silence is an expression of his wisdom. There is nothing to be said or done. At the same time, there are very few who are able to understand the absolute, though it is not forbidden to anyone. Narayan Rao wrote some devotional poems in which he signed his name Guru Jangam, and he is known by this name. He is also known as Nilbargi Maharaj, which is a result of a devotion of the lineage that was this result of his disciple Sri Bose Maharaj. Sri Bose Maharaj transferred of his remains to the village of Inchegiri. Subsequently, the toponym Nimbargi was used to distinguish the strict path of meditation taught by Bosai Maharaj. I have visited the village of Nimbargi 3 times. It is so small that if you are not careful, you leave the village. Surrounded by fields, you enter its narrow street where children play football or cricket, with a paper ball and crowd around you, surprised by the presence of a foreigner. A little further on, at the exit of Nilbargi, is a small temple of houses, which is a part of what may be the remains of Guru Jangam, his samadhi, the other part having been taken by Bose to Inchegiri. The other building has been extended to the front, making a large hall where it's spaced with natural light. The samadhi was empty. In the vicinity, there were many men of shade of trees next to the samadhi. In the walls was the Guringa Jungle's former disciple who had become masters. Jai Guru.
Now I'm going to share a slideshow that Love has kindly created. Let's see.
Jai 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 Guru Linga, Satchit Sukha Kanda, Tavapadi Sharanayeta, Tavapadi Sharanayeta, Harati Bhavabandha. Jai 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 Guru Linga, Jagat Rupatu Asasi, Asasi Nijayogi, Vasati Sthana Tumase, Vasati Sthana Tumase, Dhamani Varani. Jai 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 Guru Linga, Brahmani Premani, Madi Puramati, Paramatha Chitini, Paramatha Chitini, Nijadasa Desi. Jai 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 Guru Linga, Tavapada Yugalara Janda, Narata Madhuvara, Maya Bhayani Vari, Maya Bhayani Vari, Jesi Sukhasara. Jai 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 Guru Linga, Narayana Guru Charani, Charani Ananya, Preme Arati Karita, Preme Arati Karita, Dasamani Ganya. Jai 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 Guru Linga, Satchit Sukha Kanda, Tavapadi Sharanayeta, Tavapadi Sharanayeta, Harati Bhavabandha. Jai 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 Guru Linga.
ಜನ್ಮದೋಳು ಬಂದು ಪರತತ್ವ ತಿಳಿದು ಸಾಧುರ ಸಂಧಿಯಾಗೋನಿ ಗುರು ಚರಣ ಕಮಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಭೃಂಗನಾಗೋನಿ ಗುರು ಚರಣ ಕಮಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಭೃಂಗನಾಗೋ ಮೌನ ಹಿಡಿದು ಮುದ್ರೆ ಬಲಿದು ಜ್ಞಾನ ಜ್ಯೋತಿ ಒಳಗೆ ನಲಿದು ಮೌನ ಹಿಡಿದು ಮುದ್ರೆ ಬಲಿದು ಜ್ಞಾನ ಜ್ಯೋತಿ ಒಳಗೆ ನಲಿದು ಸ್ವಾನುಭವ ಅಮೃತ ಸವಿದು ಸ್ವಾನುಭವ ಅಮೃತ ಸವಿದು ನಿಸರ್ಗಿಯಾಗೋನಿ ಗುರು ಚರಣ ಕಮಲದಲ್ಲೇ ಭೃಂಗನಾಗೋನಿ ಗುರು ಚರಣ ಕಮಲದಲ್ಲೇ ಭೃಂಗನಾಗೋ ಮುಪ್ಪಿನ ಮೂನಿ ಪಿಡಿದ ವಚನ ಕಪ್ಪು ಕೊರಳ ಕಾಡಿಸಿದ್ದ ಮುಪ್ಪಿನ ಮೂನಿ ಪಿಡಿದ ವಚನ ಕಪ್ಪು ಕೊರಳ ಕಾಡಿಸಿದ್ದ ನಿದ್ದೆಯಡಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿನಿ ನಿದ್ದೆಯಡಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿನಿ ಸಾಷ್ಟಂಗಿಯಾಗೋ ಗುರು ಚರಣ ಕಮಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಭೃಂಗನಾಗೋನೇ ಗುರು ಚರಣ ಕಮಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಭೃಂಗನಾಗೋನೇ ರಾಜ ಗುರು ಜಯ ಗುರು ಜಯ ಗುರು ಜಯ ಗುರು ಜಯ ಗುರು ಜಯ ಗುರು ಜಯ
Jai Guru. Mirelia, you're going to sing a bhajan.
Sì, sì. Anandure, aji anandure, anandure, aji anandure, sabia biantari agva pranandure, agva pramandure, anandure, aji anandure, anandure, aji anandure, ekadonatina chara panchasa. Ekadonatina chara panchasa, chara panchasa, chara panchasa. Tu che vicharuni antara shodonya pa, maga pramandira, anandure, aji anandure, anandure, aji anandure, satvara matva velo vela, Satmara Atma Velo Vela, Atma Velo Vela, Atma Velo Vela. Baparakuma Devi Varuvita Javala, Arira Vitala Javala, Anandure, Aji Anandure, Anandure, Aji Anandure. Savya Vyantari Agva Pranandure, Agva Pranandure, Anandure, Aji Anandure, Anandure, Aji Anandure.
Jai Guru, thank you. Zohar, you're going to present Bows Ahead Maharaj.
Yes, I will start in reading and then there will be 2 YouTubes. Okay. Sadhguru Shri Bhavzaheb Maharaj was born as Sri Venkatesh Kanderao Deshpande in the village of Umadi, Maharashtra State, India, on Ram Navami, a day in the year 1843. Another great saint, Raghunath Priya Sadhu Maharaj, was a devoted disciple of Sadhguru Sri Gurinjengam Maharaj, also known as Nimbargi Maharaj. Bhavzeb Maharaj and Raghunath Priya Maharaj used to meet regularly at the Hanuman temple. Raghunath Priya Maharaj convinced Bhavzeb Maharaj that Bhakti Marg, spiritual sadhana, was the only way to reach God, and took Bhavzeb Maharaj to Nimbargi, a place where Sadhguru Sri Nimbargi Maharaj used to stay. Nimbargi Maharaj asked Sadhguru to initiate Bhavzeb Maharaj. Raghunath Priya Sadhu Maharaj agreed and then initiated Bhavzeb Maharaj. Bhavzeb Maharaj became a disciple of Nimbargi Maharaj. Sri Bhavzeb Maharaj met Sadhguru Sri Nimbargi Maharaj at the age of 14. Bhavzeb Maharaj was one of the most beloved disciples of Nimbargi Maharaj. With a kind heart, Bhavzeb Maharaj devoted his life to his Sadhguru and God. Bhavzeb Maharaj is also known by the last name Dikar. People used to respect him very much. He encouraged and practiced meditation, standing for 18 years without rest in the jungle. After Nimbargi Maharaj passed away, Bhavzeb Maharaj gave spiritual discourses, initiated many people, and decided to spread the teachings of Nimbargi Maharaj. Sri Bhavzeb Maharaj, also known as Saint of Umadi, had disciples from all walks of life. He had a disciple, Shivalgava Akka, who was a Buddhist saint from the village of Jat. His love and devotion for his Sadguru was the only virtue in his life and was as vast as the universe. One of the most beloved disciples of Bauzer Maharaj was Sadguru Sri Amburago Maharaj. Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. And so, Zohar, should I share the biography video first?
Yeah, the first one, yes.
Yes.
And then the Arati.
Okay.
Sri Sadguru Bhau Sahib Maharaj, founder of Inchigiri Sampradaya. Sri Venkatesh Khanderao Deshpande, popularly known as Sadguru Sri Bhau Sahib Maharaj Umdikar, the prominent saint of the spiritual tradition called as the Nimbargi Sampradaya, which was started by Sadguru Sri Nimbargi Maharaj. Bhau Sahib Maharaj's spiritual guru's name was Narayan alias Sri Gurulinga Jangam, that is Nimbargi Maharaj. Of Karnataka, Dev Nimbargi. Sri Karasiddeshwar Maharaj, a guru in Navnath tradition, had given spiritual grace to Sri Gurulinga Jangam Maharaj at a mountain cave of Siddhagiri. From 31 years of age to 67 years of age, Gurulinga Jangam Maharaj had practiced Nama Sadhana, that is nearly 36 years of practice uninterruptedly, and attained highest place in spirituality. The village where Sadguru Sri Nimbargi Maharaj, that is Gurulinga Jangam Maharaj, stayed lived Bhau Sahib Maharaj Deshpande's family. This family was renowned and a well-respected one. The patriarch Sri Khanderao Deshpande and his wife Bhagirathi Bai had three sons. First son Yashwant Rao Nana Sahib, second son Martan Rao, and third son Venkatesh Bhaurai. The Deshpandes were known as a very religious and just family. Venkatesh alias Bhaurai was born on the day of Ram Navami festival in the year 1843. He was a well-known child for being highly intelligent. Loved by his teachers for good behavior and equally good at studies, he also had a devotional bent of mind from the beginning itself. The Balbhim temple in Umadi is where Venkatesh used to worship with deep devotion. Balbhim is another name for Lord Hanuman. This temple was especially known as a very holy and a wish-fulfilling temple. Young Venkatesh used to visit the temple for daily prayers and temple rituals. On the parallel time, one of the great disciples of Sri Nimbargi Maharaj, Sri Raghunath Priya Sadhu Maharaj, also known as Sadhu Bua, was staying at this very temple for doing meditation. Sadhu Bua observed this boy Venkatesh doing daily prayers with deep devotion and was astonished. It was through the introduction by Sadhu Bua that the greatness of Sri Nimbargi, Gurulinga Jangam Maharaj, was sown in Venkatesh. Sri Venkatesh was initiated by Sri Nimbargi Maharaj at an early age of 40. Since then, he began to meditate regularly on the divine name imparted to him by Sri Nimbargi Maharaj. Venkatesh continued his deep meditation at Umardi for the next 28 years. Every early morning, he used to visit the nearby place called Umardi to meditate. By noon, he would return for lunch and work. The penance meditation reign that he followed produced the spiritual bliss of the highest command. The spiritual experiences that he gained were so blissful and blessed that Nimbargi Maharaj gave the torch to spread the spiritual path in the hands of Venkatesh. Before leaving this world, Nimbargi Maharaj gave the message to Sri Venkatesh, Bhau Sahib Maharaj, to carry on the spiritual activity and spread the teachings in all directions. Post Sri Nimbargi Maharaj's departure from the world, Bhau Sahib Maharaj increased the intensity of meditation. This blessed Bhau Sahib with Advaita Siddhi, the highest form of realization with the self. He had performed the strict meditation schedule for 18 years. Sri Bhau Sahib Maharaj meditated for 12 to 13 hours per day. This time also included reading of holy scriptures like Das Bodh, Manache Shlok, and reciting bhajans. He always gave importance to the time and allowed the strict schedule of meditation. Bhau Sahib Maharaj hosted the Shravan Sadhana Saptah at his place at Umadi for 18 years. In this Saptah, the meditation session would start at 6 a.m. in the morning till 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Great disciples used to sit with Sri Bhau Sahib Maharaj for meditation without moving. For the next 18 years, Sri Bhau Sahib Maharaj did the meditation at night from 12 am to 2 am by standing in his house. He had specially built a space of 2 feet in the wall in his house where only a person can stand. The intense meditation blessed Bhau Sahib with the highest form of spiritual realization with the self. He became a Sadguru and had many disciples and followers. Sri Bhau Sahib Maharaj carried forward the teaching in the spiritual lineage and initiated many disciples for 28 to 29 years. Under the guidance of Bhau Sahib Maharaj, Samadhi temple of Sri Nimbargi Maharaj was built at the village of Inchigiri. Amongst the premier disciples of Sri Bhau Sahib Maharaj were Sadguru Sri Amburao Maharaj, Srimati Shulangya Vakka, and Sadguru Sri Gurudev Ranade. Sri Gurudev Dr. R.D. Ranade, M.A.D. LLT, was one of the greatest mystic saints of the modern India. He knew many languages: Sanskrit, English, Hindi, Marathi, Kannada, Greek, Latin, German, Persian, Hebrew, and studied both ancient and modern philosophy in all these languages. Also, Bhausab Maharaj's teachings were collected in a book called Nama Yoga. On 29 January 1914, Sri Bhausab Maharaj left this world at the age of 71. Today, at the Injigiri Temple Mud, stand the divine samadhis of Sadguru Sri Gurulinga Jangam Maharaj, that is Nembargi Maharaj, Sadguru Sri Bhausab Maharaj, and Sadguru Sri Amburao Maharaj at the same temple complex. Sri Bhausab Maharaj was a perfect example of how a self-realized saint lives in this world. Following are some wonderful experiences related to Sri Bhausab Maharaj. 1. Once Sri Gurudev Ranade, one of Bhausab Maharaj's premier disciple, was severely ill for which treatment was not easily available at that time. So he and his mother stayed at Maharaj's house for a couple of months. Maharaj had cured his illness completely with meditation, prayers, and with power of mantras. Second, once during a spiritual event at Bhausab Maharaj place, a devotee wanted to move out in morning as he was not getting inclined towards the ongoing spiritual discourse. So, he was thinking in his mind as if some of his relative dies, then he can get a reason to move out. In evening, Maharaj just spoke as why should one think of his relative getting killed for sake of moving out from his event. The devotee felt sorry about it as Maharaj had read his mind. Third, an old lady disciple used to cross a river and visit Bhausahib Maharaj's spiritual discourses. However, one day it was raining heavily, so it was difficult to cross the river. The lady had so much faith in Maharaj, she sat on a gunny bag floating it on water and crossed the river repeating Sadguru Maharaj's name. On the other side of river, Maharaj had stopped the discourse in between till the lady crossed the river. When asked about the reason for stopping, Maharaj replied that he was keeping a watch on the lady disciple and guarding her so that she should not drown in the water. Fourth, once Bhausahib Maharaj's son British friend had visited home. His son and friend were laughing loudly while eating food. After some time, Maharaj asked his son the reason for laughing. Son replied as they were remembering and talking about the British friend's pet dog and laughing. Maharaj replied as one should always remember God while eating food.
Okay, now it's the RT to be shared.
न जाए स्वयं ज्योति लागता लक्ष देते आलू विसरली पाती नातुडे मन माझे न कळे दिवस रात्री ते सुख काय सांगू वाचे बोलतान वाचे बोलतान आरती नियोगे गेले मी बाळ माझे ते सुख काय सांगू आरती विठ्ठलाची पूर्ण उजळली अंतरी प्रकाश थोर झाला साठवे नांबरी रविशशी मावळला दया तेजा माझारी वारती दिव्यवाते अनुहत गजरी ते सुख काय सांगू वाचे बोलतान वाचे बोलतान आरतीचे नियोगे गेले मी वार माझे ते सुख काय सांगू आनंद सागरात प्रेमे पुढी निघाली लागले सौख्य मोठे नये बोलता बोली सद्गुरुचे संगे ऐसी आरती केली निवृत्ती आनंदात तेथे वृत्ती निमाली ते सुख काय सांगू वाचे बोलतान वाचे बोलतान आरतीचे नियोगे गेले मी बाळ माझे ते सुख काय सांगू विठ्ठल 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 विठ्ठल
Very good.
Jai Guru. Shanti, you can sing a bhajan. Is that right?
धन्य हो प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरुरायाशी धन्य धन्य हो प्रदक्षिणा श्री गुरुरायाशी झाली द्वारा सुरा वारा विनव उतरायाशी धन्य हो प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरुरायाशी धन्य धन्य हो प्रदक्षिणा श्री गुरुरायाशी पादोपादी घातल्या पारा पुण्याच्या राशी सकले तीर्थे गादाय लांबई आदी करुणिकाशी धन्य हो प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरुरायाशी जन धन्य हो प्रदक्षिणा श्री गुरुरायाशी कोती ब्राह्मा अति अरिति करिता दंडवाता लोतन गाना कलिता मोक्ष लोले पायता धन्य हो प्रदक्षिणा सद्गुरुरायाशी धन्य धन्य हो प्रदक्षिणा श्री गुरुरायाशी जय गुरु.
Okay, I'm going to read a short bio for Siddha Rameshwar Maharaj, followed by a video. Sri Samartha Siddha Rameshwar Maharaj, a contemporary of Sri Ramana Maharshi, is one of the greatest unknown saints of the age. He was born in the month of August 1888 in a small village called Patri in the district of Sholapur in India. On the 6th day of his birth, his grandmother had a dream in which great Saint Siddheshwar appeared before her and told her that the boy who is born is his incarnation and asked her to name him Siddheshwar. He also said that one day the boy will become a great saint, and hence his name was kept Siddharamappa. Later on, he was known as Siddharameshwar Maharaj. Even in his childhood, he was very much sharp, active, and had the capacity to imbibe things very quickly. He did not study much at the school level, but he was very intelligent, clever, and smart in all his behaviour. He was always very straightforward and spoke with a thoughtful idea. He retorted his answers to every question with full meaning. At the age of 16, even though he was premature to work, he took up a job of an accountant in a Marwadi firm at Bijapur. He did his work with earnestness and settled down in Bijapur. Here he met his master Sri Bausaheb Maharaj, who has built a monastery in the small village called Inchgiri in Karnataka state of India, which started in the year 1885. Sri Bausaheb Maharaj, understanding the mental capacity and lifestyle of the people then, started teaching meditation to his disciples at this monastery. The main aim or goal of teaching meditation was to attain final reality. The meditation method he used was known as Pipalika Marg, or the Ant's Way, a slow process of attaining final reality. Sri Siddharameshwar Maharaj, after passing away of his master Bausaheb Maharaj in the year 1914, was meditating on the teachings of his master. In 1918, he renounced the world and joined his 4 brother disciples to popularize his master's teachings. In the year 1920, when he was on tour popularizing his master's teachings, he got the idea that one should go beyond meditation because meditation is an initial stage to attain final reality. Brother disciples disagreed with Sri Siddharameshwar Maharaj, saying that their master Sri Bausaheb Maharaj has not told him so. He agreed with them, but reiterated, "Okay, can one not go beyond that?" He decided to set out on that arduous path on his own, left his brother disciples, and returned to his home in Bijapur. He started his meditation in Bijapur on the raised platform like a minaret, Upli Buruj, sitting over an old gun, and he meditated for 9 months without a break. Since his master had taught him only meditation, there was no alternative for him to find out the way to attain the final reality, that is, enlightenment, without meditation. He made the ceaseless efforts to achieve this final reality. He said, "I will attain the final reality even at the cost of my life." By the grace of my master Bausaheb Maharaj, he attained the goal of final reality. His efforts were finally rewarded as total and full realization blessed him. He then explained that one can achieve the final reality via Vihangam Marg, the bird's way, that is, by realizing through thought processes that ignorance has come by hearing it over and over for generations. Only by practicing and hearing otherwise, the truth from the teachings of the masters and thinking it over, just like the bird flies from one tree to another, one can attain final reality very fast. This is the shortest way to achieve the final reality. In conjunction, he taught that the path to final reality is reached by slipping easily through the gate of Laya, which is a clear sign of one's progress, the danger being in mistaking it for the final goal of spiritual practice, thus being deceived. Ignorance and thoughts are handmaidens. If the thoughts are absorbed in reality, one can go on to ultimate reality. He then started preaching his disciples to attain final reality via the bird's way. He gave the knowledge of final reality to his disciples, and then asked them to renounce, and then told them to renounce even the act of renunciation. Finally, he gave knowledge of Vijnana, the thoughtless reality. He preached in a very simple, lucid, and sane language, by giving examples from daily life. He was of the opinion that Paramarth, understanding of the final reality, should be taught in a very simple language, without using high-sounding or bombastic words, to make the people understand the ultimate reality. This he did from year 1925 to 1936. It was sometime during the first half of those mid to late 1920s, a nearly disguised young American traveller on a spiritual quest towards enlightenment that gained fame anonymously some years later in a novel by the famous British playwright W. Somerset Maugham titled The Razor's Edge, visited Siddharameshwar, one of the first Americans to do so. It has been written from his stay in India, he gained peace of mind. The Maharaj passed away on 9th November 1936 in Bombay, giving full understanding of the final reality to his disciples, especially so to two of the most accomplished followers, Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj and Sri Ranjit Maharaj. Jai Guru.
Sri Siddharameshwar Maharaj was born in 1888 in India, in a small village called Pathri, west of Sholapur, south of Mumbai. The boy was named Siddharamappa, in respect to Sri Siddheshwar. When he was 10 years old, Sri Revan Siddheshwar appeared in his dream, and gave in his hand a prasad, which is a food offering. When he was at school, during breaks, he used to escape to the temple of Sri Siddheshwar, and simply stay there, contemplating. When he became 18 years old, he was living in Sholapur, and a few years later, he moved with his family to the city of Bijapur, where he bought a house and was working as an accountant. Siddharamappa's spiritual life started very soon, when a friend invited him to listen to a guru, visiting the city, named Sri Bal Sahib Maharaj, which was renowned all over the region. After the visit, he immediately became a disciple, and started attending the gatherings and meditations. One day, working in a distant city, after 7 years of meditation and being a devoted disciple of Sri Bal Sahib, he saw a vision of his guru going away in a chariot. On the next day, he received a telegram, stating that his guru had left his body. After that, Sri Siddharameshwar started neglecting his worldly life. He turned more and more towards spiritual path. When he was only 28 years old, he put an end to his worldly life, renouncing material comforts, and leading a life of strict self-discipline, as an act of devotion. He then went to a nearby village, where he could meditate, with no interruption. He started doing severe penance, neglecting his body, physical appearance, his health and well-being. While doing his meditation, only once, in 24 hours he used to have milk, a piece of bread and rice. He would leave the seat of meditation, only for having bath and food. Sri Maharaj's penance was becoming more and more intense. For the whole day, he would sit in a room to meditate, for around 18 to 20 hours without a break. He would repeat always, either I reach the final reality or die doing it. After 2 years of penance and unbroken meditation, his guru, Sri Bal Sahib, appeared to him in a dream, and said,
"There is nothing left for you to do. Give salvation to humanity by guiding them on the spiritual path."
At that time, he had crossed all the limits of worldly life, and now he had become universal. Then, Sri Maharaj started imparting knowledge and devotion. About meditation, he would say,
"You should meditate without any concept. Nothing is to be brought to the mind. Nothing to be seen or experimented there. Because we are God, we become split as soon as we imagine something."
His state of grace was such, at that time, that he was in constant, absolute superconsciousness, and as soon as he closed his eyes, he would be absorbed in total samadhi. But on the other hand, his health had deteriorated so much, that people started wondering whether he would survive or not. His father, and other members of his family, had to take care of him. His body came down to literally skin and bone. After 5 months, at his father's home, he was feeling a little better. He then started his spiritual work again, moving from village to village, giving lectures on knowledge and devotion. When people asked him for a special mantra, he would always say,
"Repeat this all the time, morning, afternoon and night. I am Brahman. Only Brahman exists. Brahman is everything."
Sri Maharaj's strength of awakening people, and his skill in oratory was so great and absolute, that the listeners would be totally charmed. Many people would accept his teaching, and finally surrender to the Guru. He used to say to his disciples,
"Trust me, I tell you, you are divine. Take it as the absolute truth. Your joy is divine, your suffering is divine too. All comes from God, Brahman. Remember it always. You are Brahman, and your will alone is done."
Sri Maharaj was of medium height, light complexion, with a very strong athletic build, and a luminous face. In 1920, Maharaj started his spiritual work in Mumbai. During his talkings, about 200 people would gather every day, and would celebrate by doing meditation, bhajans and listening to lectures. With the divine name, he used to bring about vision of God, and with his lectures, he used to bring about vision of the self. He would repeat to the people,
"Do not follow other religion than that of your inner self. To remain in your own self is the true religion. Those who worship other gods, let them do so."
Whenever a disciple would complain about anything, he would firmly say,
"Wherever God has put you, leave there happily."
He created his own way of approaching reality, called the bird's way, the direct path to self-discovery. In 1925, he wrote a book about scientific discoveries where he foresaw the problems with the flood of electronic gadgets, like smartphones, computers and television, that would invade our lives in the future. He said,
"The modern technology with innovations every day make up a cyclone of great illusion that could make you a slave. Who knows to where the one who is caught by this great cyclone will be carried off?"
He was always traveling, by foot or by train, visiting holy places, cities and villages, teaching and giving lectures to people. Even dealing with poor health and a bad case of untreated diabetes, he would still be giving knowledge, with great vigor to more and more disciples. He would talk with absolute clarity, with a distinct style of giving simple, clear, and direct instructions. He would say to the listeners,
Never harm anyone or blame anyone. No matter what they did to you. All will reap the fruit of their actions. One who harms others, suffers harm himself.
Sri Siddha Rameshwar Maharaj's spiritual instructions were on non-dual Advaita, meaning that your inner self is not different from Brahman, the Absolute. In November 1936, after more than 20 years, preaching and teaching, he arrived in Mumbai one last time. His illness had worsened completely. His diabetes was out of control, and his health was sinking day by day. When people came to know that Sri Maharaj was staying at a disciple's house and being very sick, they started pouring in to pay respect and for his darshan. By November 9th, in the morning, his condition had completely worsened. He was refusing to take any kind of food, because he would feel extreme pain when eating. With a growing crowd of followers, of all social classes and different religions, outside the house, and only a few disciples inside his room, at around 8:45 p.m., he closed his eyes and merged in the Parabrahman, the final reality. He was only 48 years old. On seeing that Sri Maharaj had left his body, his disciples carried his mortal body, and the final procession started, with people of all walks of life following and chanting. Around 400 to 500 followers were walking in the procession till they reached the crematorium. There, according to tradition, they lighted a pyre under Sri Maharaj's mortal body. Today, Sri Siddha Rameshwar Maharaj's ashes are deposited in a shrine in Banganga, Walkeshwar, in Mumbai. His legacy is still alive. Many of his direct disciples, and disciples of his disciples, are said to have also reached final reality, such as Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj, Sri Ranjit Maharaj, Sri Mupankad Siddheshwar, Sri Ganapatraho Maharaj, Sri Ramakant Maharaj, Sri Vilasanand Maharaj, Sri Ranachodre Maharaj, and many others. Sri Maharaj was a guru of the lineage of the Nine Masters tradition. His teachings continue very much alive, and you can find his message in the books Master Key to Self-Realization, The Spiritual Science of Self-Knowledge, Amrut Laya, The Stateless State, Master of Self-Realization, An Ultimate Understanding, Golden Day, The Perfection of Material Science, Master of Self Without Self, a biography with quotes from the Guru.
Jai Guru. Love, you're going to sing a bhajan.
Yes. Guru ha Paramatma Parishu, Guru ha Paramatma Parishu, Aisa Jata Ju Vishwasu, Aisa Jata Ju Vishwasu, Vishvasu, Vishvasu, Devataya Chankila, Devataya Chankila, Devataya Chankila, Devataya Chankila, Saita Chigari Sanchila, Saita Chigari Sanchila, 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 Devataya Chankila, Devataya Chankila, Devataya Chankila, Devataya Chankila, Eka Janarani Guru Deva, Eka Janarani Guru Deva, Aise Bause Guru Deva, Aise Bause Guru Deva, Aise Staramika Guru Deva, Aise Staramika Guru Deva, Aise Nisagata Guru Deva, Aise Nisagata Guru Deva, Aise Ranjite Radeva, Aise Ranjite Radeva, Aise Ramakanda Deva, Aise Ramakanda Deva, Yete nahi bashang shaya, yete nahi bashang shaya, 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 devataya chankila, devataya chankila, devataya chankila, devataya chankila. Jai Guru Jai Guru Jai, Param Ram Sadguru, Jai Guru Jai Guru Jai, Param Ram Sadguru. Kari Mukti Dagadada Daraga Badaru, Kari Mukti Dagadada Daraga Badaru, Jai Guru Jai Guru Jai, Param Ram Sadguru, Jai Guru Jai Guru Jai, Param Ram Sadguru. Rupa Jaya Che Manamudi Bharavati Agocharu, Rupa Jaya Che Manamudi Bharavati Agocharu, Jai Guru Jai Guru Jai, Param Ram Sadguru, Jai Guru Jai Guru Jai, Param Ram Sadguru. Rakshana Maru Badvay Akshay Paratparu, Rakshana Maru Badvay Akshay Paratparu, Jai Guru Jai Guru Jai, Param Ram Sadguru, Jai Guru Jai Guru Jai, Param Ram Sadguru. Atmaram Gulingadangam Nibadi Garnagaru, Atmaram Babu Sahib Madi Garnagaru, Atmaram Siddharameshwar Pati Garnagaru, Atmaram Kasi Deva Siddhgiri Garnagaru, Atmaram Nisargadatta Niranjani Garnagaru, Atmaram Ranjiteshwar Mumbai Garnagaru, Atmaram Ramakanda Nasik Garnagaru. Jai Guru Jai Guru Jai, Param Ram Sadguru, Jai Guru Jai Guru Jai, Param Ram Sadguru. Jai Guru.
Jai Guru, thank you. Marcia, you're going to read about Nisargadatta Maharaj.
Yes, thank you. A child was born to Parvati Bai and Shri Rampant Kambli on a full moon day, which coincided with the festival of Hanuman Jayanti in 1897. And since Hanuman is also known as Maruti, that's the name they gave their child to associate him with the monkey god of Ramayana fame. The family lived on a small farm that they owned, and the atmosphere of the home was quite religious and ritualistic. And Maruti worked on the farm with the rest of his family. So his education was minimal, but he was gifted with an inquisitive mind and an inclination towards matters of spirituality. And a family friend, Vishnu Haribo Gaur, and this friend was a learned Brahmin, he had a lasting influence on Nisargadatta. After his father's death in 1915, in order to reduce the burden on his family, he went to live in Bombay. And Maruti had a strong and independent nature, so he was successful running his own businesses. And he and Sumati Bai married in 1924, and they raised a family of 4 children, 1 son and 3 daughters. He lived an unremarkable life. It was just the usual life of a common man. That is until his friend Yasheswantar Bhagkar took him to meet Sri Siddharameshwar Maharaj in 1933. This was the spiritual teacher of the Navnath Sampradaya, and the guru initiated him with the mantra and gave him meditation guidance. He carried out all of his master's instructions diligently, and Maruti pondered on and absorbed the words of his guru, "You are not what you take yourself to be." 3 years after meeting his guru, Maruti attained realization and took the name Nisargadatta, which means giver of the natural state. After the Mahasamadhi of his master in 1936, he lost interest in his worldly life and abandoned his businesses, home, and family to visit many places of worship in southern India. And then on his way north to spend his life in the Himalayas, he had a realization that living the life of mendicant and pilgrim was not the ultimate solution. He realized the futility of his quest for eternal life. Eternal life was not to be sought for. He already had it. Discussions with a guru brother confirmed Nisargadatta's change of course to one of dispassionate action set in an active life, and he returned home and to his one remaining business, which became a natural place for one-to-one interactions with friends and customers. And word about him spread, and more people began to gather both inside the business and outside to hear his talks. When he retired, he created a loft in his home, and that became the gathering place. Nisargadatta spoke the highest spiritual knowledge to everyone, and from 1951 onwards, he initiated disciples. Thousands came from all over India and the world, from every walk of life. Maruti had dissolved. There was no longer a man with a past or a future. Nisargadatta emerged, a living presence. Asked to describe himself, he would say, "I am imperceptible and inconceivable. I know that I am not describable nor definable." Nisargadatta's worldwide recognition and followers came with the publication of the book I Am That in 1973. This English translation of his talks in Marathi by Maurice Friedman is considered to be a masterpiece and a spiritual classic. Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj, an ordinary family man who attained complete realization of the infinite, a realized master of the Inchagiri Navnath Sampradaya. He shared the highest truth as the absolute in his own unique way. One follower says that he thanked Sadguru Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj for imparting his entire teaching in 3 words, "I am unborn." Even though Sri Nisargadatta's teaching was based on the formless consciousness, every day he dusted and cleaned the photographs and pictures of masters and saints and applied tilak on them with kumkum. But in a funny story, Maharaj visited the home of his primary translator, and when he saw all the photographs of the saints adorning the walls, he scolded him and he told them to throw the pictures into the sea. But Muller Patton replied jokingly, "After you, Maharaj." At one time, foreigners asked if they could sit and meditate in the loft. And Nisargadatta allowed that for a very short time. As they sat, Maharaj went about his daily activities and chores, like reading the newspaper and dusting and cleaning the photographs. But he was aware of every meditator, and he didn't hold back. He finally said, "You're all pretending." He said, "You're caught up in your thoughts and your minds are all over the place. And I'm catching you watching me, looking to see what I'm doing." So he said, "I've got a suggestion. Don't waste this hour here. Go sit on the toilet. At least that would be something useful." So Maharaj could be argumentative, and he didn't like to sit in silence. He'd say, "Don't waste my time, ask me questions." But he could be feisty, and he would throw people out. It was said that you would be put in a position where you would have to make a choice between your own conceptual structure and the direct experience that Maharaj was giving you. There was only one thing that Maharaj was interested in, and that was, do you know who you are? His first lesson was, whatever you see cannot be you. And frequently he would say, forget me, forget my teachings, abide in your own being, and the absolute will give you the right directions. Nisargadatta wanted his ashes to be put into the sea, but his devotees kept some, and one devotee remarked, "You could say that it was done out of ignorance." But the ashes were placed in the Sri Nisargadatta Adhyatma Kendra in Mumbai. 6 months before his samadhi, Maharaj was experiencing severe breathing problems due to throat cancer. And a devotee suggested that an oxygen cylinder would bring relief, and Maharaj exploded. He said, "This consciousness will stay as long as it has to stay and go when it has to go. You know that I don't want to prolong this life even for 1 second." Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj attained Mahasamadhi on September 8, 1981 at 7:30 p.m. These are the last words of Maharaj before he lost his voice. "I feel the pain in the body, but have no pain of dying. I am that which always exists and which is prior to manifestation." This is very unusual, but Maharaj did actually say some things about himself. Some of these are, "Don't confuse me with the body. I'm not a person in your sense of the word, though I may appear a person to you. Do not look for me in identification with or opposition to something. The yoni is neither consciousness nor unconsciousness. I do nothing, nor is anything done to me. I appear to depend on everything, but in fact, all depends on me. All the 3 states, waking, dreaming, sleeping, are sleep to me. My waking state is beyond them. I exist everywhere at all times." The words of Maharaj continue to vibrate. There are no conditions to fulfill. There is nothing to be done, nothing to be given up. Just look and remember, whatever you perceive is not you, not yours. It is there in the field of your consciousness, but you are not the field and its contents, nor even the knower of the field. It is your idea that you have to do things that entangle you in the results of your efforts. The motive, the desire, the failure to achieve, the sense of frustration, all this holds you back. Simply look at whatever happens and know that you are beyond it. To remain in the waking state without thought is the greatest worship. Jai Guru.
Thank you. Stefan, I think you are going to sing a bhajan.
Aure bhagya maje dunya dao samsari sadguru belu yani dere kari kashi chavari atma de teri kari trikutavari namde dekhiye re bandari te sukha gaya sangu vache bola thanaye vache bola thanaye Parati cheni yoge, levi pana maje te sukha gaya sangu. Raula majijata, tade deha avasramana he unmanadare. Nate badi te chivagata, te tuhama valala. Shabdahari shabdata, tatashta honte. Nijaru papa te tuta gaya sangu vache bola tanaye harati cheni yoge elemi pana maje te sukha gaya sangu Vibhuna guna bhari purna ujalarya bhati navlava vinasha Jai Swam Jyoti Lavita Lakshate Kalu Visarali Pati Natude Manamaje Nakali Divasati Te Sutate Yatangu Vache Bola Tanaye Rati Chen Yoge Remi Panamaje Te Sutate Yatangu Arati Vitalaji Purnau Jalari Yantari Prakash Turadala Tatare Nambari Ravi Shashima Valare Yati Jamajari Vajati Vivyavadi Anuhata Gajari Te Sukhayatangu Vache Bulatanaye Vache Bulatanaye Harati Chenyoge Elemi Pana Maje Te Sukha Gaya Tangu Ananda Sagarata Premi Buddhi Hidari Natale Sukyamote Nai Bulata Bori Sadguru Cheni Sange Aisiyarati Kedi Nivruti Anandata Vitevuti Nimari Te Sukha Gaya Tangu Vache Bulatanaye Vache Bulatanaye Harati Chenyoge Lemi Pana Maje Te Sukha Gaya Sangu Vitala 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 Kundarika Varda Har Vital Parvati Padeshiv Har Har Mahadev Rajadhiras Gurunashi Siddharameshwar Maharaj Ki Shri Jnandev Tukaram Tukaharam Tukaharam Rajadiraj Sadguruna Shri Bhavsab Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Luna, you're going to read about Ranjit Maharaj, is that right?
Ranjit Maharaj was an Indian spiritual teacher in the Navnath Inchgiri Sampradaya tradition and disciple of Siddharameshwar Maharaj. Ranjit Maharaj was born on January 4th on 1913. His father died when he was 6 years old. In 1924, he met Siddharameshwar Maharaj. The following years, he was initiated by Siddharameshwar Maharaj. In 1934, at the age of 21, he got initiated into Mokkhu. Only in 1983, at the age of 70, he initiated his first disciple, Sri Siddharameshwar Maharaj's daughter-in-law. Hereafter, he started to attract an international following. The specificity of Maharaj's teaching is its radical stand and directness. All is illusion, the I is illusion, so whatever the I does is also illusion. Therefore, he does not give any method to improve the illusion. Maharaj often speaks of zero, which refers to consciousness, the sense that I am. Whatever rises within consciousness is no different from consciousness itself, and to make something of it is totally pointless. Making something from nothing is ignorance, and knowing that everything is nothing is wisdom. What need is there to prove that zero is always zero? Reality is the source of everything and is the natural state beyond consciousness, the stateless state. Only that is true, and that as Maharaj always says, everything that comes and goes is zero, is unreal. Reality remains ever present and absolutely independent from the I, the body, the mind, the world, and consciousness, which all come and go. During deep sleep, there is nothing, not even the I am consciousness, yet reality remains. True knowledge and the reflection of all false identification that one has taken upon oneless. The wheels of ignorance are removed and we realize our true nature. To find out your true nature is the easiest thing since you are always that. Ranjit Maharaj passed away on November 15, 2000 at 6:16 p.m. at his residence in Bombay. Maharaj's words during his last few days were, "It is of no use now and has to go." Jai Guru.
Jai Guru, thank you. Going to share a short video of Ranjit Maharaj now.
कसा विसरू तुम माय मिले करो सिद्धरामा तुला मी कसा कसा विसरू तुम माय मिले करो सिद्धरामा तुला मी कसा कसा विसरू तू माय मिले करू मी हरणीची चुकले पाडस तव चरणांची एकच आस नको आता अंतरू नयन भुकेले तुझ्या दर्शना अधीर काया आलिंगार किती वाट पाहू सिद्धरामा तुला मी कसा कसा विसरू तू माय मिले करू सधरामा तुला मी कसा कसा विसरू तू माय मिले करू सधरामा तुला मी कसा कसा विसरू तू माय मिले करू ज्ञान नको विज्ञान नको मज वेदांताचे सार नको मज प्रेम भुकेला मी चको नको आता अंतर वृत्ती निमाली निमाली काय घे हृदयाशी सद्गुरु राम वृत्ती निमाली निमाली काया घे हृदयाशी सद्गुरु राम कशी वंदना मी करू तू माय मिले सधरामा तुला मी कसा कसा विसरू तू माय मिले करू सधरामा तुला मी कसा कसा विसरू तू माय मिले करू
Jai Guru. Zohar, it's Bhajan, is it? No, yeah.
Yes. Kaya biti shanka uraliyam hasi, kaya biti shanka uraliyam hasi, Sadguru patiti siddharama, Sadguru patiti siddharama, mi palpita puta bita maruniya, mi pana kalpita buta maruniya, Kele Guru Raya Purnakama, Kele Guru Raya Purnakama, Deha manasaha sarva brahma kele, Deha manasaha sarva brahma kele, Papa punya gele dharma dharma, Papa punya gele dharma dharma, Data tarya kele apa pansi, Data tarya kele apa nansi, Atan kona pashi kaya kama, Atan kona pashi kaya kama, Kaya biti shanka uraliyam hasi, Kaya biti shanka uraliyam hasi, Sadguru patisi siddharama, Sadguru patisi siddharama, 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 Kaya biti shanka uraliyam hasi, Kaya biti shanka uraliyam hasi. Rajadiraj Sadguruna Sri Siddharameshwar Maharaj ki jai. Rajadira Sadguruna Sri Bhavdev Maharaj ki jai. Jai Guru.
Thank you, Jai Guru. Anjima, it's Ramakant Maharaj.
Yes. I'm going to read part of his bio, and then I'm going to read a chapter from Selfless Self. So, listen to me. The entire world is a projection of your spontaneous, invisible, anonymous, unidentified presence, which cannot be defined in words. Sadhguru Sri Ramakant Maharaj constantly hammered the ultimate truth and guided us in trying to identify our real identity. I am that. The peaceful, composed, ever-smiling personality, clad in white kurta, pajama, and a Nehru cap, our great Reverend Master Sri Ramakant Maharaj, an adherent, dedicated disciple of the great Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj, spent 19 years with him. A renowned spiritual guru and a teacher of non-duality Advaita Vedanta, Sri Ramakant Maharaj belonged to the Inchgiri lineage of Navnath Sampradaya, which emphasized Bhakti, Jnana and Viragya. The worldly life of a saint, though insignificant from his point of view, serves as a guiding force and gives inspiration to his devotees. Sri Maharaj says, "Who is dying? Who is living? Just self-inquire. Nobody is dying. Nobody is taking birth." To write about Sadhguru's life is really an uphill task. In Swami Vivekananda's words, "It is impossible for puny words to do full justice to my Sadhguru's life." Being faced with the same difficulty, an attempt is being made to narrate in short the material past life of Sadhguru Sri Ramakant Maharaj. Sri Maharaj was born in Wadia Hospital in Mumbai on the 8th of July 1941. He spent his early childhood in Gadgesgasakal Wadi in Fondagat, a beautiful small village in Konkan, the most beautiful and God-gifted land between the Sahyadri Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea at the western coastline of India, also known as a little slice of paradise of Maharashtra. His full name was Ramakant Pandurang Sawant. His father was Pandurang and his mother was Satyabhama. His mother was a pious, hardworking, lovable lady. Sri Maharaj was born 10 years after his two sisters. Naturally, the arrival of the son was an occasion of celebration for everyone. The joy of the mother knew no bounds. Sri Maharaj inherited his love for spirituality from his grandparents. They were ardent devotees of Lord Hanuman. The idol that they worshipped exists even today in the altar. The hardships in his life have carved out the saint in Sri Maharaj, just like that of any other great personality. Sri Maharaj completed his primary education in Mumbai and secondary education in Fondagat. His secondary education was highly troublesome. Meagre facilities were provided to him and poor financial conditions added to the woes. He had to walk 3 kilometers barefoot in the blazing sun to reach the school. He had to work in the fields, till the land, collect firewood, and then manage studies if at all he had the time. Somehow he completed his education till 11th standard. He couldn't pass his English subjects. After this, he came to Mumbai. Though he had a zest for higher studies, he couldn't continue his education due to low scores. He couldn't get a job either. In spite of all this, he had a strong belief in himself, and he had a strong belief and strong hope that something better will be turned out of his life. He did some odd jobs and had household chores as well. Life has many ways of testing a person's will, either having nothing happen at all or differences of opinion. This happened between his parents, father and stepmother, and him. Due to unavoidable circumstances, without compromising on his ideals, he had to take the decision of leaving his house. He started living at Trade, Mumbai, with his elder sister he called Akkad. Akkad and Anna were a loving couple. They too were not financially well-to-do and lived in a small house, but had large hearts. Living with them changed the course of his life. Anna was a disciple of Sri Katsideshwar Swami. Due to spiritual disenchantment, he had been away from home for 2 to 3 years and had recently returned to his family and impoverished conditions, resulting in failed financial conditions. In spite of this, it was decided that Sri Maharaj should join English classes. Sri Maharaj was aware of the situation and accepted all the odd jobs that he could. At Sadhguru's feet. In all these times of turmoil, Sri Maharaj did not lose his patience. He believed that work is worship. Though he struggled to do his best, he wasn't able to find a perfect path. But when the future was looking bleak, there arose a ray of hope. Let's see. He was invited to meet Nisargadatta Maharaj. Sadhguru Nisargadatta Maharaj's discourses were not easily comprehensible to a newbie. Maharaj was no exception. Nevertheless, something had sparked within him, and so he started visiting Sadhguru's ashram regularly. But something sparked in him. Oh, sorry, I missed that. He would sit in a corner, listen to the discourses, sing the bhajans, and return home. This routine continued till the 2nd of October 62, when Sri Maharaj was initiated by Sadhguru Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj. A deity, Sadhguru, in the making, had manifested as a devotee. Maharaj had revealed his mind a day before being admitted to the hospital. A guru can identify the perfect stone to be chiseled into a perfect sculpture. Sri Sadhguru had realized the potential in Sri Maharaj and was attracted to this forlorn, quiet, virtuous youth. He used to ask some of his disciples in high positions to look for work for him. When he learned that Sri Maharaj had just completed his SSC, he said, "Don't come here to play the cymbals. I don't aspire for such devotion. Get well educated like Arvinda Ghosh. What would a pauper donate? Learn and grow big. Earn well. Maharaj was left perplexed. Sadhguru had compared him to Aravinda Ghosh, a great philosopher and yogi. Jai Guru. Now, I'm going to read chapter 175 from Selfless Self, Ablaze with Contentment. Question. Maharaj, I have been meditating for years, but it is only since listening to the teachings and taking the Nam mantra that I seem to be firing on all cylinders. There is so much going on that is truly amazing. It is difficult to describe, except to say that the overall feeling is one of emptiness. And along with the emptiness, there is great happiness. And what I am describing does not come and go. It is constant. Some nights I cannot get to sleep because I am on fire with contentment, lying awake with a huge smile on my face, at peace and blissful. Maharaj, very nice. This is the fragrance coming from selfless self. Question. Also, there is a sense that something very sacred is being touched upon. I feel so moved that sometimes tears start falling. My only response is to bow down. That's all I can do. I feel so thankful to you, Maharaj, for everything. There are many visions of the masters, and yesterday I heard a voice saying, "You are selfless self." It was accompanied by a pink light. The message and the pinkish light seemed to be coming from both the inside and the outside, but I know there's no inside or outside, so I just bowed down. It was so clear and substantial that I was really encouraged. I am going deeper and deeper and getting closer and closer. I have full trust that it is achievable. Maharaj, this is your inner master. This is exceptional. This is ultimate truth, and so soon. It is by the grace of my master, Nisargadatta Maharaj. I am very happy with your strong involvement, your deep involvement. Continue. Go ahead. Go ahead. The blessings of my master are with you always. The moment body knowledge dissolves, you will see nothing. It is a kind of spiritual intoxication. Ah, so it is all this. Maharaj waves his hands as if in trance. Do your work, and at the same time, drink the spiritual knowledge, the nectar. Question. I have a real desire to worship, puja, but what is the best kind? I don't want to let it go. It is such a beautiful thing to do. Maharaj, puja means always keeping in touch with your selfless self. You are supposed to keep in touch with your selfless self always. This is worship. You are the worship. You are the worshipper. You are the worshipped. You are everything. You are master and you are disciple. You are God and you are devotee. Question. Why do we do the bhajans, Maharaj? You are alerting your selfless self because of the external forces that are around to distract you from reality. Spirit likes the bhajans and prayer. Spirituality aside, If someone appreciates you and compliments you, it makes you happy. Likewise, the spirit derives great happiness from hearing the bhajans. When you are pleasing your selfless self, you are praising your selfless self. You are giving importance to your selfless self, not to an external God. If someone praises you, you feel happy and energized. It is the same with spirit when you sing. Lord Krishna said, I reside in the hearts of the devotees. Praise brings happiness to spirit. When the bhajans touch the sensitive spirit, that internal God is praised. And then you want to dance. You're happy and peaceful. And at the same time, you're alerting your selfless self, with the result that external forces will not be able to attack you or distract you from reality. Question. I only listen to 1 or 2 bhajans a day, but even that makes me very happy. I find it is really easy to remember myself in this way. If I don't do it, I can easily fall back into some bad habits. There is always so much pressure from the outside, and the bhajans really do help. Remembering you, Maharaj, also helps a lot. And I know that everything is inside, I just have to use it properly. The conviction is really, really strong, I know. Maharaj, I see my happiness in your happiness. Question. It seems like you're smiling all the time on the screen, just one big smile. It is fantastic. Thank you so much. Maybe I will learn some Marathi to get even more. Maharaj, language came afterwards. Go deep and deep into your selfless self, and there you will find nothing, because everything came out of nothing. Question. I don't know how it all came about, but it is great. Maharaj, that greatness is in you. The Master has not done anything. He has guided you to yourself so that you can see all that is within you, reality. He has removed the ash, uncovered delusion, and given you light to see with. Your spontaneous presence is silent, invisible, anonymous, unidentified identity. The process from illusion to reality has, as it were, ended. There was no process, there was no beginning, and no end. Total knowledge is absorbed in oneness. Jai Guru. Jai Guru. Okay.
Okay, I think now we move on to the section of singing artis to various masters. The first one is Yaneshwar, which I'll sing. Arati Yanaraja Mahakevalya Teja Sevidi Satu Santa Manuvidala Maja Arati Yanaraja Lopale Jnana Jagi Hiti Nenati Koni Avatara Panduranga Namate Viledyani Arati Jnana Raja Kan Kachitata Kari Upya Kopika Nari Narada Tumbari Samagayana Kari Arati Jnana Raja Prakata Guya Bole, Vishva Brahma Chikeli, Rama Janatani, Pai Mastaka Tevili, Arate Dhyaranja. Jai Guru. Love, it's Tapeza Head Maharaj.
Yes. Arati Umadisha Tuchi Swayam Prakash Yapuni Jagadisha Ravi Bhakta Manasa Arati Umadisha Samartanavanama Nami Jadali Prima Bhagataratmarama Nami Rangali Mana Aradi Umadisha Uchi Swayam Prakasha Yapuni Jagadisha Tuvi Bhaktamanasha Arati Umadisha Ashankyatava Bhava Saviti Ananta Rutava Nijaruta Savisi Samarta Aradi Umadisha Tuchi Swayam Prakasha Yapuni Jagadisha Tuvi Bhakta Manasha Arati Umadisha Devadi Nija Deva Pragatati Sabhava Vitata Vabhasha Aisa Sadguru Deva Aradi Umadisha Chichi Swayam Prakasha Yapuni Jagadisha Tuvi Bhakta Manasha Arati Umadisha.
And Jima.
Okay. Arati to Siddharameshwar Maharaj. Arati Sitarama Sachina. Start again. Arati Sitarama Sachitananda Prema Sadguru Sukadama Harihara tu Brahma Arati Sitarama Tu ekapatarisha Karivika Upanasha Toduni Pavapasha Utarile Siyama Arate Sitarama Sachitananda Prema Sadguru Sukatama Harihara tu Brahma Arate Sitarama Vedanta Guya Parama Parikaroni Sukama Prabodhile Varma Nirvyanyana Nama Arati Sitarama Sachitananda Prema Sadguru Sukatama Harihara tu Brahma Arati Sitarama Vedanta Varaisha Tuja Pranama Shatasha Tattatrayadasa Tesvarupi Virama Arati Sitarama Sachitananda Prema Sadguru Sukatama Harihara tu Brahma Arati Sitarama. Jai Guru.
Marcia.
Arati Avaduta Guru Nisagadata Prabhudayananduta Avatara Siyananta Arati Avaduta Guru Nisagadata Prabhudayananduta Avatara Siyananta Arati avaduta, Guru Nisargadata, Parmeshatmaranga, Tavijana Ganga, Nashit Parasanga, Nichavahe Prashanta, Arati avaduta, Guru Nisargadata, Prabhudayanduta, Avatarasyananta, Arati Avadita, Guru Nisargadata, Bhakta Minagana, Tujanyanya Sharana, Vanditi Tavacharana, Chukitrata Samartha, Arati Avadita, Guru Nisargadata, Prabhudayananduta, Avatarasyananta, Arati Avaduta, Guru Nisargadata, Atma Vishram Dhamma, Tava Parmahima, Guru Dasanami Tuma, Bhakta Bhagya Vidata, Arati Avaduta, Guru Nisargadata, Prabhudayanduta, Avatarasyananta, Arati Avaduta, Guru Nisargadata.
Luna, take it away.
Aratiranaджита, Садгуру Самартха, Бодхуннижда Бхакта, Удхарилиси Джагадата, Аратиранаджита, Тузерупадхивита, Нура Сансараджхинта, Атмасварупадата, Сварните Витомадха, Aratirananjita, Sadguru Samartha, Bodhunijda Bhakta, Udharilisi Jagata, Aratirananjita, Kapana Hicha Vruti, Jnani Karuni Vruti, Mukti Varila Bhakti, Davili Bhagata, Aratirananjita, Sadguru Samartha, Budhunijda Bhakta, Udharilisi Jagata, Aratirananjita. Tava Divya Guru Prema, Dishtasana Nasima, Siddharama Shisha Ottama, Tuja Sharana Ananta, Aratirananjita, Sadguru Samartha, Budhuni Nijda Bhakta, Udharilisi Jagata, Aratirananjita. Jai Guru.
Stefan, is there something you want to share?
Pardon? What about Ramakan Maharaj? Who sings Ramakan Maharaj?
It's Mirelia.
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 Sí, yes. Arati Ramakanta, Sadhguru Prupavanta, Nam Tushe Smarta, Are Baba Bhagachinta, Arati Ramakanta, Isha Tuje Guru Bhati, Aliyatma Prachiti, Anyati Shati, Devi Alyani Bhakti, Arati Ramakanta, Sadhguru Prupavanta, Naham Tuje Smarta, Are Baba Bhagachinta, Arati Ramakanta, Shvatma Bodha Bodhida, Udarile Si Jagata, Rupa Tuje Dyam Vanta, Tarunine Bhakta Arati Ramakanta Sadhguru Krupavanta Nam Tuje Smarta Hare Baba Bayashinta Arati Ramakanta Nija Tuje Pata Basha Ojale Tata Davileni Nishadana Tuja Triva Vandana Arati Ramakanta Sadhguru Krupavanta Nam Tuje Smarta Hare Baba Bayachinta Arati Ramakanta.
Stefan.
So there is a freshly written Nadi, and we would like to present it to you.
Arate anajima, utarile tu bhakta, nisha swarta sanduniya, dyantile se jagata, arate anajima, agata tuja bhakti, amate nicha spurti, nasuniya moha pranti, kere sulabha tu mukti.
Arati anajima Udari tu bhakta Nitsata sanduniya Chandile Shri Jagata Arati anajima Sachacha Shuddhita Adiswarupi Shirata Janam hi Jalvata Chani Devi tu Mata Arati Ranajima Udari tu Bhagda Nitsata Sanduniya Nandire Shri Jagata Arati Anajima.
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Thank you. That was a well-kept secret. Okay. Okay. So we've come to the end of our beautiful celebration for Guru Purnima. Thank you all for coming. And Jai Guru, Jai Sadguru.
Jai Guru. Jai Sadguru.
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Yes.
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anjanella.
Thank you.
Thank you.